And we're back for episode 8 of the Drum Iowa Network with your dear friend Myquan Bailey from Drum Iowa. And I am joined with a couple of very dear friends of ours from our North End update. We have Rocki and Chaveevah here. Welcome to the Drum Iowa Network.
Thank you, Myquan.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
First and foremost, you guys were very kind to have me on the show to talk about Drum Iowa a couple of times. And, I wanted to kind of return the favor and get an idea of how the North End update got started. But before we get into any of that, I want to talk about a few updates with Drum Iowa. This coming weekend, we have Proceeds Fest coming up August 9th through August 11th. For those of you who don't know, Proceeds Fest is a free will donation camp where we have a lot of wellness activities. We have yoga, drumming, sound bowls, different wellness activities going on this weekend up in LaPorte City at Proceeds Fest. So if you haven't put it in your schedule, feel free to do so. We'll be there from Friday until Sunday. Again, you don't have to be there all weekend long. You're more than welcome to come and hang out for a day, a couple days, or the whole weekend if that's what you want to do. But yeah, Proceeds Fest is going on this weekend. We're really excited. We got Danny Eastman. We have our dear friend Ashley Kay is going to be there. Tim is going to be on the sound bowl. So yeah, it's going to be a very exciting weekend. Again, this is a free will donation event. You don't have to come and dig in your pockets and shell out anything unless you want to have a tent. That's the other caveat. So if you're coming and you plan on using a tent, then you will need to pay for your tent. But again, that's only like $13 minimal. It is a family-friendly event. You're more than welcome to bring the kids out. The kids are welcome to come out and have a good time. We're encouraging good vibes. So, yeah, we love to see you all out. Black Hawk County, Lynn County, wherever you are, Bremer, wherever you are here in Northeast Iowa, we love to have you guys out. And then coming up the following week, we will be in Marshalltown again, August 17th. We'll be there for drumming, yoga in the park with our dear friends Taylor Bear and Heidi Drazy. So I'm really excited about that. That's always a vibe. The people in Marshalltown really treat us well. So I can't wait to get down there again and drum with those good folks. And then coming up August 24th through the 25th, we will be down in Chelsea at Windy Gold Acres for the Fairy Fantasy Retreat. This is a lovely event because, folks get to get outside of their element and kind of dress up into some type of character. So yeah, all of these events are posted on the Drum Iowa page. We've been posting them all week long. So if you're curious about any of these events, feel free to take a peek at the page and all of the information is there for you. All right, so on to our guests. We have Rocki and Chaveevah from the North End Update. Welcome, ladies.
Hey, everybody.
All right.
Yes.
I was talking to a dear friend of mine about your show, and we were talking about how essentially you guys are the voice of Waterloo in many different ways.
Wow.
You are able to tie the community into our alternative form of news and keep people up to speed with what's going on here in our community without having to so much tune in to the traditional news channels.
Wow.
So I want to give you your flowers while you're here because you've been doing this, and the community appreciates you, and we know that what we get from you, not the hosts that you bring on, are people that are for this community and from this community, and a lot of the information that you bring on is just stuff that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So the obvious question is, what was the motivation piece behind the North End Update, and how did this idea come to fruition?
Thank you for the compliment about being the voice of our community. That means so much to us, especially now, that KBBG is not being around anymore. And I know there was a lot of public announcements, service announcements that they were doing. So that means a lot to know that people, that you think of us that way. And we sure appreciate that. The North End Update got started because we were hearing a lot of things about our community that we knew not to be true. I was born and raised in this community, and the churches, the clubs, the schools, the people that I knew and grew up with needed to be shouted out and need to be heard about, and not just some knucklehead that robbed the bank down the street or somebody that got into a altercation. We wanted to talk about the good stuff and from a Black perspective, so all people can see that this is a great community, the Black community, and also to give the Black community access to some of the things that they may not have known about.
You know, you really kind of hit the nail on the head, because when I think about Drum Iowa, and when we go outside of the community to other communities, to other events, and these are conversations that I'm having with people who don't have the privilege of being here in our community, who are going by word of mouth, who are going off of what they see on the news about the latest whatever thing that happened here in Waterloo. So I definitely feel you there.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of misinformation that's going on out there about our community.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good work going on here in our community. There's a lot of good people like yourselves who are putting in good work here in our community.
Like you. And what you do. I want to be at that fairy fantasy.
I know. I
That
love
sounds
the
Fairy
dress
exciting.
retreat.
up
Yes.
Yes, the
stuff.
fairy
Yeah.
Things
retreat.
like that.
Wendy
Those are-
Goldacres, yes. And again, we'll get more into that in a
Okay.
second, but I don't want to lose focus on the
Okay.
North End update.
All right.
You were talking about how the North End update began. You know, you all wanted to dispel some of the misinformation that goes on about our community and highlight things. A lot of us have ideas, and oftentimes getting those ideas and putting them into action can be difficult. So can you kind of speak to how you went from having this idea of wanting to put information out for our community, by our community? Can you kind of talk to us about how that came into fruition?
That was sort of, even if you're not necessarily a take charge kind of person, there's this quote that we use that sort of really speaks to that, from Arthur Ashe, and that's start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. And so that's kind of what we did. We didn't really know a specific way to get started, or I need to get this first and I need to do that first. Anyone who has a phone, basically, as far as being out in the field, you got something that you can get started with. And we just, just only so many times you can hear people say negative stuff.
Absolutely.
That you, so like, wait a minute, no, that's not right. Or if that is going on, there's also this that's going on. So we just started talking. We started off, I think our first show was about 10 or 12 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think it
I
was
love that.
serendipity. A lot of
Yeah.
it kind of just fell into place, and it was so funny. We didn't even know anything about a tripod. We couldn't have a show unless we found somebody to hold
To hold the
phone.
phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because and then Sherman Wise, bless his heart,
Yeah.
he brought us a tripod.
Okay.
Like something, just a minimal
For sure.
tripod, and we thought, oh, duh, why didn't
Yeah.
we think of that? And then after that, things just started rolling because, your mind starts thinking, but, well, this is going on. And the Boom Shakalaka is our main show that starts at 4:00 on Fridays. But then we got to the point where Facebook would let us go live, but then the Waterloo City Hall studios wanted to share our content on their channel. So then we had to come up with a pre-show that's just on Facebook to let the community know what events are happening this weekend. And with Waterloo Community Television, booking people that they'll be getting to be seen on MediaCom Channel 17 and 79. No, what is it?
79-4.
And -4
Okay.
and Channel 17.
Yeah.
I noticed a new thing that you guys are doing is, I noticed, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're even going on site now to some of these events.
Oh.
I noticed that you were at our drum event, the Drumming on the Cedar event,
Sure.
and you were live. So I know now we're in the field more.
Actually, we have scaled back a little bit from the field because we used to be almost like the volunteer fire department. We would show up wherever, and that got to be sort of, a lot, showing up at everything. But we would just, you hear about something happen. And we do have some other folks that are working with us now that are getting out there. So it's not always necessarily us two.
I saw that you had a couple of other gentlemen who were on your show, and I think they were guest hosts.
Yes.
You guys were out, and
You would be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
we gotta
give
have
me a
you
call.
come.
Let me know. I'm willing to work with anybody.
Okay.
Anybody with good heart and spirit, I'm willing to work.
Okay,
And you guys have been excellent guests and hosts for me. So definitely let me know when you need me, and we'll put it together.
Will do.
One thing I wanted to say about your show that I like, you guys do a really good job of bringing in the guests that we want to hear from. A person like me who's concerned with the goings on about the streets and things about in our community. I think you had the director of the road department on once,
Streets
the
department.
streets
Yeah.
department, and that's someone that I want to hear from, who I would have never had a conversation with if it weren't for your show. Same thing with the guy from the water department. And I know, and no disrespect, I know they have names, I know they have official
Right,
titles.
of
So I
course.
want to apologize to the guy from the water department
Okay.
and the guy from the road department. This is out of love. This is not out of disrespect. So yeah, I wouldn't have known anything about the quality of our water in this community if I wouldn't have saw your show. I didn't know that we actually won awards in this community for our water quality. And that's a big thing in the country when we're talking about city systems and water resources. To hear that Waterloo has excellent water and that our water has actually won some awards in the past 10 years was good to hear. And you know, so again, you guys bring people on the show that we want to hear from, that we want to talk to.
That's been serendipity too, because being located in City Hall, we have a direct connect to, especially with Agnes. Shout out to Agnes.
Shout out to Agnes.
Yeah.
Hey, Agnes.
She puts us with different people that are in different departments of the city. And she said, hey, would you like for such and such to come on? Or maybe somebody wants to come on specifically to talk about things that are going on with the city. So it was just natural.
Well, all right. We need that.
So to the point of us getting out in the community, and Chaveevah always pulled my coattail. Is like, look, we're not the volunteer fire department. People would call us, hey, we're having a party. Will you come? You know, we're doing this. Will you come? And
That's a funny term.
Yeah.
The volunteer fire department.
Oh, right. I know. That's Chaveevah's sense of humor.
It was
She's
feeling
hilarious.
like that.
Yeah.
It was feeling like that.
Come go live at this event that we just thought of 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Come
we
get
were
my
running-
cat out of the tree. Yeah.
And we're both retired, and we're like, you know what? Really, this is kind of too much work. And then we didn't want to charge people for what we
Right.
did. So we were blessed to get some grants. We got grant money because people did see us as a community service, and we kind of found out that we had support. And so then we're able to have an intern and stay in the studio and train young people with the cameras and such. So that was another blessing that just came about just from keeping busy and doing it, and that's the thing. We didn't quit. People probably thought, oh, it's a phase. They're just having fun, but we don't have a lot else to do. So,
But we are
I
having
love the
fun
show.
though. Yeah.
Hey, I see what you're doing, and what you're putting back out into the community is really good. And I really love the fact that you're paying it forward to our young people who are interested, because a lot of kids now are interested in making videos and all these different things. So now you're actually teaching these young folks a craft that they are interested in. So big shout out to you for that.
thank you. Pipeline.
So what's next for the North End update?
I'm glad you asked that. We have an event coming up in October,
Yes.
and it's we had one once before in April of last year.
Yes.
We call it Taste of the North End. So we had originally wanted to do that at the same time every year, but things work out how they work out, and so we're going to do that in October, and it's basically a party, a get together, a celebration of the time that we've spent. We're going to recognize some people in the community for the things that they've done. It's a fundraiser for our organization, and is it October 10th?
So mark your calendars, everyone. It's an awards banquet, basically, and we're going to have heavy hors d'oeuvres. And it's called Tones, Taste of the North End. So it's the Tones Awards. And last year we gave 7 awards, including the mayor. We gave him an award because he showed up every Friday.
Yes, every third.
Year.
That's right. Every
Not
third
so much
Friday.
this year. He's been really busy.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Absolutely, that's a busy job.
oh my goodness, I wouldn't want it. And he does a great job.
He
and
does.
We're so thankful for.
Big shout out to Quentin.
Yes,
we got to get you
Mayor
on the
Hart.
show. we love to have you.
Oh, and he'd love to be here.
Oh, I know.
He's a great guest.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so our event is coming up. And another thing that we've been blessed with, we met a lot of people in just by having them as guests and hearing about what they're doing. And so we met a lady named Rochelle Chase. Do you know Rochelle?
No.
Okay, she's a award-winning journalist.
Yes.
And she actually recommended me to write the children's book, Susie Clark, The Bravest Girl You've Ever Seen.
Okay.
And they paired me up with an illustrator a young woman named Haley Calvin. And so that book is out thanks to North End Update being started. And then after I got this book written, she asked Chaveevah for illustrations. So
right.
Chaveevah's going to illustrate.
I'm in the middle of that
school.
right now.
Yeah. So many things. And I think you'll find, we're glad that you're doing this podcast. And I think that you'll find once you start having guests, you meet different people and things just branch out and things just blossom. So our community is great for that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And you just never know who you're going to meet. That's one of the things that's really, really cool to me because, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just run into somebody and someone will say, oh, wait a minute, you know them? Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the way that.
And that's the beautiful thing about our community here in Waterloo. We're not so big to where we can't be interconnected. And what a lot of people don't know about our community, especially the African American segment of our community, is we have very old families in this community who have been here for a very long time.
That's right. Yes.
We're not a transient community that has just recently moved here in the last 10 or 15 years. Mm-hmm. Our roots, our family, those families' roots run pretty deep.
Yes.
And now we have this next generation, the newer generation, where a lot of these younger folks are now out here doing their thing. And it's fun to watch those guys go out into the world here in Waterloo. I saw one of the young guys just become a new police officer here in our community who went to East High, and they said he went to UNI, and it's just it's wonderful for me to see our community this way. And it's wonderful for me to see the young people in our community coming back slowly but surely to help build it back. But it's what we need. And back to my point about our community, and especially the African American community here, Black folks have been in Waterloo for a very long time.
Yes.
And we know each other and we love each other, and we're not all up here trying to hurt each other. And that's a big misconception.
That's right.
There's much more peaceful activity that goes on here than violent activity.
So much more.
And I'm very confident in saying that. And a lot of people don't know that crime here in Waterloo is on a downturn.
Okay.
In comparison to the 90s, and the numbers are dropping. And that's, I think, what we need in our community. We need foreign, outside investors to be more comfortable with the climate here in Waterloo, so that they'll come in and they'll invest here, because folks are not going to invest in places where they're not comfortable.
That's right.
That was one of the things that attracted me to Waterloo. I'm from Chicago, but I've been in Waterloo for, I don't even remember, more than 30 years.
Okay.
And I brought my children here for them to grow up here because of that same thing. It's a slower pace, not that sort of crime like I was seeing in Chicago.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you were from Waterloo.
See?
All this time. I know your son. Your son and I grew up together.
Oh,
both
okay.
of your sons.
Okay.
I grew up with both of them. So I naturally thought that you were from here in Waterloo.
Yeah, they were in their early teens when we moved here,
Okay.
like preteen, 11, 12, like that. Yeah.
All right. This is probably one of the funnest portions of my show, is when we talk about the things that help us tick. Those coping skills that we need and that we use to help get us through the day. I have mine, and I'm sure you ladies have yours, and the folks out there have theirs. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm always looking for new skills to put into my tool belt, so to speak. So can you guys share maybe some of the things that you guys do to kind of get through the day when things are a bit much?
For me, I have incorporated the breathing techniques, especially at night when I'm trying to fall asleep. If I have something on my mind, I think it's 4, 7, 8.
Okay.
You inhale as big as you can for 4 seconds, or four, count of four, and you visualize those numbers in your head while you're doing it. You hold your breath for 7 seconds and you blow it out your mouth. You inhale through your nose and you blow it out through your mouth for 8 seconds or more. Then you repeat that. And if you, even when you're tired of doing it, do it one more time. And before you know it, your heart rate and everything, it's been proven, it all goes down. My other coping skill is, it's crazy, but housework.
I can relate to that.
I will clean the house from top to bottom when I'm stressed, and it just makes me feel good. And my other one is laundry and hanging clothes out on the line. So I always feel like so special when I can take this little tiny washcloth and spend time hanging it up.
I got you.
It's something special about that, because it's just between me and my clothes.
For sure. For sure.
So those are mine.
Well, Monday through Friday at about 6:30 in the morning, my husband and I go to the sportsplex, and I like to walk. We walk and bike and exercise for about 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. So I feel accomplished, like I'm starting my day off with something that's good for my health, and something that I do just because I'm an artist and I love to draw.
Okay.
And doodle. And you don't have to necessarily be talented to do that. Or, there's so many different things that you can get, art kits or whatever, adult coloring books, that sort of thing, and it's very relaxing. You have a sense of accomplishing something. You do a little bit of art, throw on some good music, and it's a whole vibe. Yeah.
How about you, Mike Juan? What do you do? Tell us.
Well,
drum. Don't let me guess. You drum.
Okay.
Yes, that drumming is definitely one of the things I do to kind of take a load off. Being out in nature with the dogs is probably my go-to.
Yes.
Because if I can kind of disappear, and that's the cool thing about our communities, we have a wonderful trail and park system, especially down in this part of town. You can be downtown in 1 minute, and then 10 minutes you're off in some wooded area. So that's the benefit of being here in our community. So yeah, I like to kind of get off of the grid whenever I can, get the dogs running. It's good for all of us because they're bigger dogs and they need to be able to burn that energy out. So that's a big one for me. I think drumming is naturally another one. Having solitude is important for me. I'm a person that sometimes I like to be by myself. And I think that's something that I got from my mother because she was very much like that. So being by myself gives me an opportunity to kind of clear my head and then go back into the group with other people and be social. But yeah, solitude is important for me. So those are some big ones.
Yeah, you hit the head on the nail, however you say
The
that.
nail on the head.
Yeah.
The nail on the head with me too. Solitude is so important to me. And I
love being around people, people with good energy, good vibes.
Yes.
I love being around people, but I also like to be by myself. And it makes the time that I spend with other people that much better. You know what I mean?
So they should appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate
it,
and I appreciate them, so we should appreciate each other, I guess.
Exactly.
So this weekend, we're going to be social all weekend long out at Proceeds Fest from August 9th through August 11th. And that's going to be a ball, hanging out with Danny Eastman and all our fun friends. So I'll be very social.
Yes.
So I'll be social. I'm pretty social on the weekends.
Well,
we have our
that's
drumming
good.
events. So that's my opportunity to be social. And then during the week,
such a great vibe too. My nephew was here visiting, and
Yes,
they
I
went
met
down.
him, yeah.
They went down and drummed along with you, and they just had it. And we were looking for something to do,
Okay.
on a weeknight, and then I saw that was going on. I was like, "Let's go down. You're gonna love this."
I'm
And
happy
they
you made
did. They both just enjoyed it so much. And then we went and got something to eat. It was just a great night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weather was really good
It
that night too.
was.
We had good weather. Sometimes, this weather has been tricky. Some days
Oh, yeah.
it seems like it waits until the weekend to rain. So that's kind of weird. Speaking of which, we'll be down in Marshalltown August 17th. We've been rained out a couple of weekends. We were rained out not rained out. The rain did move on, and we were able to continue with our drum circle. But we've had some rain during that event over the past couple of months. So hopefully we can get some good weather August 17th, Marshalltown, and you guys come on out with Heidi Drazy and Taylor Bear and myself and the rest of the Marshalltown folks for a good drum circle. Shifting gears before we get out of here, I want to talk a little bit about Decorah. Our event up in Decorah last weekend was an absolute blast.
It's beautiful up there.
I really love it up there.
Yes.
I say this all the time. It's really close. For what we can get, it's really close.
It is.
It is. They have very good trails, good eateries. Their main street. I believe that their main street, our main street, can be like that.
Okay. I haven't been there for a while. I remember the Vesterheim Museum.
It's the same type of the downtown area that we have here in Waterloo. Sure. It looks very similar. But the difference is it's lively and it's bustling, and every store has somebody in it.
Wow.
And I credit their Chamber of Commerce for being able to pull that off. And of course, they have the university. We know university cities tend to have a little bit more in terms of resources. Yeah. But at the same time, I like what they're doing with their Chamber of Commerce. They got some really young folks down there. We had a ball up there last weekend, and we will be back, Decorah. We set the date, and I'll be posting that on the Drum Iowa page soon. So there will be a September date for Decorah. So we will be back by popular demand for another fun-filled event. And finally, and I know I talked about this a little bit before, but August 24th and August 25th, Drumming at the Ferry Experience, an immersive fantasy retreat at Windy Gold Acres in Chelsea. That's a tongue twister. Every time I try to say that without looking at this, I always mess it up, and just the always jumps down my throat. Okay. You can't even say the event right. It's like, well, you put like, I count 20 syllables. Okay. So don't blame me. But no, seriously, we're joking, and this is all in jest, but that event is going to be a ball, August 24th, August 25th, Drumming at the Ferry Experience, an immersive fantasy retreat. So the cool thing about that, again, is you can pick between being a fairy, a sea creature, like a mermaid or something like that. You could be a gnome or a troll. And there are other fantasy creatures that you can pick. You're not limited to those, but you're going to see a lot of fairies, a lot of, And again, I'm not going to tell folks what I'm going to be. You want to know what I'm going to be, you're going to need to come out and hang out and see. But I'm definitely jumping into the vibe, and I'm getting into character and
participate.
Oh yeah, yes, got to participate. Got to be able to participate and get out of our element. So the Ferry Experience, an immersive fantasy retreat, Windy Gold Acres, August 24th, August 25th. All of the details can be found on Facebook. And then cruising into September, we will be back up in Lime Springs for the Three Pines Retreat with our dear friends up there in Lime Springs. I can't wait. That's going to be September 13th through September 5th. All of the details can be found on the Drum Iowa page on Facebook, so we'd love to see you out. With that, I think we'll get ready to wrap up here. Thanks again, ladies, for coming out and joining us for the Drum Iowa Network. I thank you for all the work that you're doing in our community by keeping folks up to speed on all of the happenings. I think it's marvelous work. I think you guys are really inspiring a lot of young people to do a lot of different things. So keep up that good work. We appreciate it. Big shout out to the North End Update. If you're not familiar, check the details. The link is in the details. Yes. And you can definitely follow them. And I encourage everyone to follow them, whether you're from Waterloo or you're not from Waterloo. So all of our friends in other places, check out the North End Update. And they're going to give you the real. They're going to let you know what's really going on with Waterloo, so you don't have to believe all of the hype and all of the fake news. Not to say that things don't happen and things haven't happened. For sure. But it's relative to a lot of other places. Yes. And what this community is not, is we're not this war-torn Beirut community. Thank you. No. It's not 1980s Beirut here in Waterloo. We had a wonderful Irish Fest, had a ball, wonderful activities. So there's a lot. I want to give a big shout out to the police department for keeping everyone safe. Big shout out to our mayor, City Hall, all you folks down there downtown doing the work. We appreciate you. Keep up the good work. And with that, I'm going to cut it and not belabor it and catch you guys next time.
Thank you,
All
Mike.
right.